It is 3, 2, 1. It is live. Hey, internet friends, this is MagicBrad, Synergy Cafe, and we're doing another program here. And I'm speaking with someone right now. It's PM here in Asheville, and I'm talking with someone where it's AM over there because they're on the other side of the planet. And her name is Mary Tonner or Toner. Are you there, Mary?
Toner? Yes, Mary, I'm here.
Mary Tonner. Okay.
Toner.
So, do we wake you up? What is it, about 8 o'clock in the morning over there?
No, it's 12:14, lunchtime.
Oh, that ain't too bad then. Okay. So it still is PM. I talk with a friend of mine over in the UK all the time, and same kind of thing. It's kind of strange.
Yes, when I talk to my sister in Scotland, it's nighttime and daytime, morning here. So it's.
Because for us it's Saturday, and for you it's Sunday, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. See? We see the sun first.
Well, we see it last.
Yeah.
So, basically, I just ask you some basic questions, and then we'll get into some general discussion. And the first question is who? Who is Mary? Could you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, well, I was born and bred in Scotland, as you can probably tell from my accent. I came to New Zealand in 1971. With my husband and my first 2 children, had my 3rd child here. I've moved around lots of places in New Zealand, probably seen a lot more of that than most New Zealanders. And I now have 3 grown-up children and 7 grandchildren. And I went into homeopathy 18 years ago. When I've always been fascinated with energy, and when I discovered that homeopathy was an energy medicine, a little light bulb went up above my head, and I decided that's it. So I did my studies, got graduated, became a tutor at the college, became a supervisor at the college, opened up my own practice part-time, and then did my life coaching certificate, my hypnotherapy certificate from there.
Okay, I was going to mention to the people that are listening, we were having some technical stuff with cameras and stuff. For some reason, it's not picking up the reception of Mary's camera. That's why you can't see her, you just see her picture. So the next question is what, and you kind of got into that. Maybe you can explain a little bit more what it is that you do. You homeopathy, and some people might not know what that is, but we will get into that after. And then you said you do life coaching, and
yes.
What else is it that you do?
Hypnotherapy.
Hypnotherapy. Okay, so homeopathy, hypnotherapy, and
life coaching.
Life coaching. Okay. And the next question is where? Where do you do this? Do you have like a clinic, or do you do it online via Skype, or do you do it under a bridge in a box, or where do you do it?
I do it in my consulting rooms, which is attached to my home in Auckland, New Zealand. I can do some through Skype and by email. My sister in Scotland tends to send me some clients from there. My sons who live in other parts of New Zealand tend to send me some clients from those places as well. And yeah, so that's a bit about it.
Okay. And then, so when do you do these? Do you have like regular office hours, or do you kind of just do the sessions whenever? Like you got a pager, you're on call or something like that? Homeopath on call or something?
I now have an e-booking system because it was a bit of a problem getting backwards and forwards to people fitting a time that fitted both of us. I work part-time as an accountant as well, so my practice is only part-time at this point in time. So I set up an e-booking system, and it's made it a whole lot easier for people to go in through my website and just book straight online and select an appointment that suits them. So I do all day Tuesday, and I do Thursday in my clinic, Saturday mornings in my clinic, and some late nights, depending on what the clients need. So.
Yeah, those e-booking systems, they kind of help out a little bit, especially with the time differences. And when you get a good system that actually works with all the times. I remember once I was driving cross country, and all of a sudden all the things in my phone, the calendar, it all changed. So all my appointments shifted to a different time, and that freaked me out. So it's good to have something up in the cloud that works for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So the next question, this is the fun one I like to ask, and that is why? Why is it that you do what you do? What is the purpose? Why do you do this?
Why do I do this? I like to help people. Well, I think we're all on this planet to do some sort of service for the planet, and I have an ability to work out how people are feeling, what they're thinking, how things affect them in their emotional area. I don't believe that we should just look at things in isolation. Like when people go to the doctor, they tend to just look at the physical stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, you have to look at the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual as well, all in line with each other.
Got
And then, yeah, so I've just, as I say, I've always been fascinated with physics and chemistry and stuff like that at school, and the energy of the universe and how it works, and just to help other people. I'm helping myself as well in the process.
Yeah, I always like to ask that question. That's pretty much the same answer I get from everybody, is they want to help people, which is refreshing. It's kind of nice to know that. That's what I want to do too. I'm helping people get their business out into the world, out into the universe. Have you ever heard of T. Harv Eker?
No.
No? He talks about the different areas of, like, he's got a thing called the millionaire mind, and he talks about how there's the spiritual and the mental and the emotional, but all we really think about is the physical. We're always looking for the results, but there's all that unseen stuff that we don't really deal with because it's not a tangible.
That's right.
It's like a similar kind of thing, all that stuff that's in the underworld kind of stuff, and that isn't always the exact, it isn't the symptoms. It's usually something deeper.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us more about what it is that you do with your practice and how the things interweave and work together and all?
Well, people generally come to see me first for one of the modalities, either homeopathy, life coaching, or hypnotherapy. And in the course of basically the first consultation, it's worked out exactly what they need, whether they need homeopathic remedies, whether they need some hypnotherapy sessions, or whether they need a bit of guidance in their life. And more often than not, it turns out they need all three. So they get there in the end, according to the individual and the individual needs. So you can only really work that out on the first consultation when they make their appointment to come and see me.
So sort of a questioning and finding out what is the thing that's more prominent that they might need some help with. And we might want to talk a little bit about homeopathy, because a lot of people might not know what the heck that is while we're talking. And the way I explain it is kind of like two tuning forks, and one tuning fork will acclimate to the other tuning fork. And I think that's kind of what homeopathy is.
That's a very good way of that's a very good analogy. Homeopathic remedies are energy medicine. And they do align with the energy of the individual, and when the individual's energy is slightly out of balance to cause a physical problem, the homeopathic remedy that you match with that person, with that individual, it helps bring that energy back into balance again. So it's all on that submolecular level, it's all on the energy level.
And then the hypnosis part of it, I know that I'm a magician by trade. That's where the MagicBrad thing comes from, and I know some stage hypnotists and things of that sort. But a lot of people don't understand what hypnosis really is. They think it's some kind of like, you'll just come in, you wave a watch, and I can quit smoking. And
I'll be asleep. Yes. Yes, you do have to explain what hypnotherapy is to people. That it's basically them agreeing to put their consciousness aside, so that the subconsciousness can take on board the messages that you give them. The subconsciousness will not take on board anything it's not prepared to receive. You can't force someone to do something they don't want to do. And I think the hypnotism that people see on stage is done on quickly, and it's to entertain, and the people who come up as volunteers come up because they go, oh, I'd love to be able to eat an onion or do something like that, and think it's an apple, or think I'm a chicken. And so they're very receptive to taking on board those messages. So when somebody comes for hypnotherapy, for treatment, they're basically taking on board the messages that they know instinctively, intuitively, that it's good for them. And they will then accept those messages
Got
And
it.
then
So if someone wanted to quit eating onions, you could cure them of that. I'm just teasing.
somebody wants to clear themselves of eating onions, I would just say, try chocolate.
Cool. The other element that you work with on the coaching end now, I read some things. Isn't it part of what you do is like relationship and like parenting and things of that sort?
Yes, the parenting aspect comes along with what we call the Sleep Talk Children process, which was developed by Joan Golding in Australia, and she's just been to the United States of America and done a tour around explaining what it's all about. And it's basically a form of hypnotherapy, as it were, letting the child know that they're loved by everyone, that they're lovable, and it helps build up their confidence, their self-esteem, and their self-worth, so that as they go through life, they come up against teachers, childcare workers, peer group people, people at school, all that kind of stuff. And if they give them any negative messages, these people with their confidence can then not take that on board. So if people start bullying them, they don't allow themselves to be bullied. I think over the years, over the past decade anyway, we have given the children non-confidence, as it were, because we've been telling them stranger danger, don't talk to strangers, and they've become totally confused as to who's a stranger, who's to be trusted, who's not to be trusted, and so they're open to being bullied. And on the other end of that spectrum, they're open to being bullies as well. So the Sleep Talk Children helps with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So in that process, you're teaching the parents, you're training the parents how to actually bring the children up better. Yeah, be better parents.
Okay, well, it's 8:25 by my clock, and I've got this thing scheduled to go till 8:30 because I don't like to take up too much of people's times when they're out there in their busy lives. So we're going to kind of wrap this thing up so it doesn't get cut off at the end. But
Okay.
if you could stay on after we're done, after I close it off, and maybe you and I could chat a little bit further. And is there anything else that you might want to add, like maybe a website or anything like that that you want to throw in? And then you can send me those links, and I will embed those into this into the Hangout, and then I propagate it out to the internet so people can find it.
Yep. Okay. Well, I've got one website, but there's a couple of different links to it. One is positiveparentingnz.com, and one is talktones.co.nz. And
when you say NZ, you mean NZ, right?
Yes, yes.
That's the way they do it over there.
I mean NZ, you mean NZ.
NZ, NZ. So positiveparentingnz.com.
I changed it to talktones.co.nz because somebody else has got positiveparenting.co.nz and people get confused with that.
That happens.
It has to have the NZ on the end.
I'm surprised they haven't run out of domains yet, but we get creative.
Yes,
well, that concludes our little interview with Mary Tonner, and I'm going to talk with you a little bit later. But thanks for watching, everybody, and there will be links and things around here so you can connect with about homeopathy and parenting and relationships and coaching and hypnotherapy. So, peace, love, and happiness. MagicBrad signing off. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Brad.